This was September in 1961. I turned 21 on September 19th. I had a good job as a teaching assistant at a boys' school, and I was in my senior year at St. Louis University. Well, my sister became engaged to my best friend, and as a gift to her, I wanted to have a photograph made of her that we could put into the St. Louis Post-Dispatch announcing her upcoming wedding. And the school I taught at was a private school, and there were a lot of people there that had a lot of pull. And I said to one of them, who was a friend, Lois Coy, I said, Lois, what should I do? And she said, you have to go to Jules Pirlo. If you don't get Jules Pirlo, they'll never put it in the paper. He does all the society people. I said, well, we're hardly society. She said, don't worry about it, I'll make an appointment. So she made the appointment, which was really wonderful for her to do. And Joy and I went to the studio. My sister's name is Joy. Went to the studio. He took a number of pictures and said, come back in a couple of days and we look at the proofs and pick the one we wanted, which we did. And then he said to me, he said, come back in a couple of days, we'll be ready. I said, okay. So a couple of days later, on the 21st of September, I'll never forget these dates, I turned 21 on the 19th, and on the 21st, I went over to Lois's apartment to show her the pictures and to take her a box of candy to thank her for being such a wonderful, wonderful gift to Joy and me and having him take the picture. And so we sat down and she said, we should celebrate your birthday. I said, great. And what are we going to drink? So she brought out a bottle of gin and a half carton of what it was called Squirt.
Oh,
okay, you know where this is going. So Squirt. So her oldest daughter, Julie, was a good friend of mine, and we were what were known as dating friends. We traveled in the same circle, and when she needed a date, I would be there. And then another friend of mine from St. Louis U was also teaching at the girls' part of the school. So we were all sitting around the kitchen table, drinking gin and Squirt. And at about some time, I thought, I better get home. And I got up, and my legs weren't working. They were wobbling. And I held the table, and I thought, well, this isn't right. And Lois said, Tom, you're going to sleep on the couch. And I couldn't see myself in an apartment with 6 women and me, half drunk, well, very drunk. So I said, no, I can get it home. So I I opened the door to get out of their apartment, and the second daughter, Pam, was lock-lipped with her boyfriend. And I opened the door, and I see them, and I said, what are you doing? And they looked at me, and I said, get an apartment. And they said, what's going on? So I get down to the car, and at that point, I had a little Ford Anglia. They called it a popcorn popper. And I get in, and the steering wheel came up and hit my face. And I was like, well, this is ridiculous. What's going on? So I got it started, and I knew, this isn't working well for me. But I got out of the side streets, but when I got on a main street, I realized that I had to pee. And I look around, and I knew there was all night, like a steak and shake. It was, Stacy, what was it called? Do you remember? Anyway, it was a steak and shake, and not a steak and shake. It wasn't. It was the Esquire Theater. So I stop the car, I get out, and the doors are locked. I thought, can't be locked. It's open all night. And then I realized, oh my God. And I just So I did what all boys do. I just peed. And with that, I was a hand on my shoulder.
Oh.
And the officer said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm peeing." And he said, "You know that's illegal." And I said, "Really?" And then the officer said, "You can't do that, young man." I said, "Why not?" I said, "I have to pee." He said, "Do you have a driver's license?" And I said, "Yes." Okay. Took my driver's license. He said, "You had the keys to the car?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You didn't waste any time since your 21st birthday." And then he said, "Okay, you're going to get in the car." I said, "Where are you taking me?" He said, "Get in the car." Oh, no. He said, "Is this your right address?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Get in the car." I got in the car, and I must have fallen asleep. Because the next thing I knew, I woke up in front of my house.
Ah.
And I get up, and I walk to the door. He rang the doorbell, and my mother answered it. And he said, "Does this belong to you?" And my mother said, "What did he do? What did he do?" And she said, "I'll let him tell you that, but his car is parked at Esquire Theater parking lot." I climbed into bed, and lo and behold, the next morning I was wakened with my mother throwing a pot full of water on my face. "What did you do that for?" She said, "Do you realize what you've done?" I said, "What I've done? What?" My head was breaking. I just, Well, she wouldn't tell me where my car was. And I said, "Mom, please, I have to get my car. I have to get my car." She said, "All right, I'm going to give you your car keys on one condition. You promise me that you never get drunk again." And I said, "I promise." And I never broke that promise for 51 years.
Ah.
And guess where I broke it? In Athens, Georgia. One of my dearest friends came to visit us. And of course, we had to go out. This Athens, Georgia. There's music, there's fun, there are young people. And two old guys looking around. We just were, and then we got back to our house and we opened up the rye and we drank about, I guess, a quart of Manhattans. And then I said, "I have to go to the bathroom." And he said, "Me too." So he went to the room and didn't come out. And so I went to my room where Karen was. She was sound asleep. I crawled into bed with all my clothes on and my shoes, and all I could think about was I lied to my mother. I brought this because I think you would like it. This is an important talk. Stacy, would you stand up, please? This is the picture that the photographer made of my sister, and having gone to Catholic schools, all of my friends refer to them as
beautiful.
they refer to them as virgin martyrs.